much. Okay, so would you agree with me that for businesses these days, it feels like everything's getting a lot busier? And you've got to be busy in business. So by show of hands, what would you really like? So raise your hand if actually you'd like to have more energy, more confidence, and more focus. Raise your hands. It's coming. And raise your hand again if not only you'd like to have more energy, more focus, and more confidence, you'd like to feel freaking awesome as well. And raise your hand and say aye. Aye. The thing is, where are you right now? Apart from here. See, the thing is, so many people, and this may be you, are juggling, maybe even struggling with running a business and running your own life. Trying to enjoy time with your friends and your family. Trying to make the business work. And all that happens is you feel even more frustrated because you're in this position where you feel like you're failing both and not succeeding in either. Or perhaps you've got that feeling where you're getting out of bed in the morning and everything just aches. It's a groan to move your legs to get out of bed. You feel like the only way you can survive the day is to be fueled on Red Bull and coffee and other stimulants, legal or not. And you feel almost dependent that this is the only way you're going to be able to survive. Or maybe you're in that position where everything isn't working for you. You're finding that no matter how much you're grinding, no matter how much you're doing things, you can't get that clarity or that focus again. It's like you're thinking through fog. And it's affecting your judgment, it's affecting your decision making. Things that used to take moments only a year ago seem to take an eternity now. Let alone, can you even remember what your 20s were like? Maybe you can. Or perhaps you feel like you're in this position where actually you're just battling every single day just to make anything kind of work, and it's just a struggle and you just want to be out of it. You don't want that anymore for your life. So, what if life wasn't that battle? What if actually you could get out of bed every morning, right, and feel fantastic? Your alarm clock goes off, you kill it. Whichever way you want to do, you can throw it, you can hit it, you can bounce it, you can kick it, whatever's going to happen. But that just goes down because you're going to be up and at it straight away. You're going in, you're brushing your teeth, you're already thinking about what's going to be happening next because you've got the clarity of focus. You know what you want to do, and you know how you're going to get it. And the thing is, perhaps you've just got that feeling that you're doing the best for your family. You're doing your best for your friends. And even better, you're doing your best for your clients as well, in that real heartfelt sense that you know you're serving them. And it's just glorious because it brings you so much happiness and wealth and health. So the thing is, if we are living, or you're living in this kind of area where actually it's so painful, but yet the reality is you want to live somewhere where actually you're having fun and having a bit more enjoyment in life, would you agree that something has to change? And for that change, for me, it's all about becoming fit for business and fit for life. Now, it might seem obvious when I say being fit for business and fit for life, but what do I actually really mean by that? I mean actually taking care of the one thing that you need to, and probably the one thing that you may have actually missed, and that's taking care of yourself. And it's amazing. I mean, you guys have probably realised it, right? I mean, you cannot turn on the TV, look at the internet, find a magazine, read a book or anything without someone somewhere talking about health and fitness. Yes? Yes or no? Yes. Absolutely. And there's so much documentary evidence to say how amazing it is and how brilliant you're going to feel when you start to concentrate on this. But the thing is, not many people have realised the connection between the person's, your fitness, your health level, and how it affects your business. Now, Harvard Business Review is quite a good magazine. I don't know if you guys have read it or not. They've got all sorts of articles in there that actually talk about leadership and execs and business owners and entrepreneurs, and specifically start to talk about how, if you concentrate on yourself as the leader and start working on yourself first, then straight away you're going to see profound effects happening inside your business. Because would you agree that actually to lead by example is a great way of leadership, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're leading by example and your example is being lethargic and fatigued, right, and haggard and frustrated and angry and all those other things, what would you expect then those that you're leading to be like? Cranky. And how many people complain about their employees and do not answer that question? But yet, if your leadership, because you have got energy, you've got confidence, you've got focus, you know, you're coming into work and you've got that capability, you've got that zing thing going on, all of a sudden, you'll find that people will react to you in a different way. Just like we were hearing earlier, just smile, right? And a smile can change the world. So, okay, so we've thought about Harvard Business Review, but what about some other kind of interesting publications? You guys might not be aware of the American College of Sports Medicine. Maybe you are. But the one good thing about them is they've defined 9 specific areas that they believe people can change, right, and actually improve by focusing on sports and fitness and health. Now, I'm not going to go through all 9, so don't worry about it. This is not a lecture. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight 2 that I think are really important when it comes down to businesses. The first one being stress. Now, so many people that I talk to are so stressed in this world. Yeah, they live in worlds of stress. We hear about burnout, we hear about mental health issues. Yeah, and a lot of them are caused by stress. Now, I'm going to challenge that thought that stress is the issue, because stress is a good thing. Yep, you heard me right, stress is a good thing, because stress can challenge us. Stress can make us grow, but it's only a good thing if we have a physical outlet to allow that stress to manifest itself. Now, you might be wondering why. Why do we need that physical outlet? And as we spoke about earlier, you know, we haven't been this shape for the entirety of our existence. You know, we did come from worms or something. Interesting fact, actually, complete side note, when you kiss your partner, you know, you are actually the longest worm on the planet. Just in case you're wondering. Go look it up. But anyway, random fact, but back to stress. So, stress is a good thing in the fact that it allows us to grow. But because we've kind of evolved from, you know, our ancestors had a great way of getting rid of stress through physical activity. You know, we were cave dwellers, you know, we were savannah wanderers, we were like forest hunters. You know, at this point in time, you know, we were worried about being food for something else, let's face it, while we were out there trying to find food. You know, so as you've got one of your eyes looking backwards at what kind of lion or saber-toothed tiger is going to be behind you, your other one's trying to find out where the berries are or something. So this stress, this response, this fight, flight or freeze response is what is made out of stress. And it helps because straight away our bodies start to adapt. And it's through that adaptation that actually we can make things even better. But without having that physical outlet to get rid of stress, then what happens? Well, inside our bodies, we've got all sorts of amazing chemicals that make us do all sorts of wonderful things. And all these chemicals build up, things like cortisol, things like adrenaline. And all these things are kind of then bubbling around with no outlet. So what do? They are looking at them breaking down the tissues that you've got inside your body. They are looking at removing your muscle mass, and they're looking at storing energy ready for you to be able to, you know, run away from that saber-toothed tiger. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen too many saber-toothed tigers in the boardroom. few walruses maybe, but not saber-toothed tigers. So, Will talked about stress there. Now the other one that they talk about is cognitive improvement. You heard me right. Physical activity can actually improve the way that you think. And when you start to look at the science behind it, it's quite amazing because it's all down to how your body then pumps all the different fluids around, because you've got active pumps like your heart and you've got inactive pump systems that you need to move your muscles to make those work. It gets nutrients into all the right kind of places and makes you feel great. And by having that physical outlet, as we heard about earlier, with the releases of things like dopamine and endorphins and serotonin, depending on whether you do team sports or not, help you be able to keep those happiness inside you as well, which keep you sharper and focused. So straight away, if you're a business person, or an entrepreneur, or even an exec, don't you believe that that could actually really assist you in your business? Yes or no? Yeah, absolutely. So, the other thing, I was joking earlier about the walruses, but the reality is the boardrooms are getting a bit bigger these days. I'm not talking about the number of people in them. And this has been collaborated by the WHO, the World Health Organization. And when you look at their figures, it's quite astounding. So in 2010, right, the World Health Organization published their statistics of how many people were overweight or obese, and they came out with 1 billion people on this planet in 2010. 1 billion people, that's a lot of people. Now, at that time, we had people like Jamie Oliver, he was out there championing food for schools, getting education right so people knew what to eat, etc. And we also had lots of other celebrities coming off the back of this. So you're thinking, great, there's lots of people now talking about this type of issue. And not only talking about it, but sharing the solution. So by the time we get to 2019 and WHO release the next set of statistics, you're going to hope it's going to be better, aren't you? No. Actually, they released it in 2019 and it actually became 1.9 billion people. That's doubled in 10 years. Yeah, and the more scary fact is that's 1/4 of the population of this planet are now overweight or obese. Now, after COVID, you know where this is going, don't you? Yeah. So after COVID, there's many people. So again, the American College of Sports and Medicine, they released what they called the COVID-15. Yep, I haven't actually mistaken that. I do know the virus is called COVID-19, but they nicknamed it COVID-15 because on average, an adult male inside America put on a minimum of 15 pounds during COVID. Oh, wow. Yeah. And when you start looking now, we're still waiting for the full stats to come out from WHO, but they're saying from the survey in 2022 that across Europe, and this is only Europe, and we are part of Europe when it comes down to these stats, okay, Brexit does not apply, 59% of adults now are overweight or obese. 59%. And guess what? The fastest growing demographic, pun intended, is in hard-working, busy professionals. That is business owners, entrepreneurs, execs, doctors, lawyers, nurses, engineers. That's scary stuff. Yeah. And the thing is, we can change this. Yeah? Anything you do right now will make a difference. It doesn't matter whether you're 8 or 80. Right? You can actually change and start to reverse some of those symptoms of fatigue, of maybe diabetes, of tiredness, of actually having the focus and the clarity again, not having the brain fog. Right? And you can start it right now. Yeah? Within the space of a few weeks, you can feel it, feel the changes inside you. Within the space of probably a month, you'll be able to see the changes for yourself. Maybe the trousers are getting a little bit more comfortable, not quite as tight. And shortly after that, straight away, you'll start to hear it from other people as they turn around and say, what have you done? You're looking different. You changed the hair. Oh, you're looking good. very dapper. And that is a massive, massive change from only a very small amount of effort for most people's parts. Now you might be wondering, who am I to talk to you about this? Yeah. And I'd like to start and open the idea with the concept of insurance. Because nobody likes paying for insurance, right? It's the number one service you hoped never to get served by. Yeah. But yeah, at that point in time where you've paid for it and you need it, you suddenly find it's one of the best things you've ever got. Now, if you come back with me to December 2014, you'll find me queuing under the baking hot sun with my two children. Now, my youngest lad, who's 11 at the time, and my daughter, who's, oh crumbs, she would have been 5. And as we're there queuing on this baking hot sun, waiting to get on the Incredible Hulk ride at Universal Studios, my son's going, Dad, is it going to be fast, Dad? Dad, is it going to be fast? Please make it be fast. And my daughter's going, is it going to be scary, Dad? Is it going to be scary? I don't want to be too scary, but I want to be scared. Yeah? And they're both so happy to be there. And as we're shuffling there closer to the front, we get there, and all of a sudden, an officious looking gentleman in his green shirt, his purple trousers, no, it wasn't the Incredible Hulk before you think about it, says, excuse me, sir, I'm really sorry, but you're too big to go on this ride. You will not fit in the seat.
Was that because you were too tall?
No.
Oh, Pam, I wish it was. You see, at this stage, you know, I had a 54-inch waist.
Oh my goodness.
I weighed in at 154 kilograms, which is 24¼ stone, or 340 pounds, depending on which way you want to look at it. But thankfully, at that time, a friend of mine came with me, Andy. Andy said, don't worry, Martin, I'll take the kids on the ride. You go sit this one out. I was crestfallen. But you know what? My kids thoroughly enjoyed it. I could hear them laughing in the wind. It was fantastic. And I stood there with my wife, my mum and dad and some of the friends that I took with us. And I really, really wish I could tell you that was the only time that happened during that holiday. But actually it wasn't. It happened on several rides. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when we're on holiday, we take loads of photographs, and we love taking photographs of the kids and where we're going, etc. And each evening we'd go back to the villa that we'd rented, and we'd all be sharing those experiences. And my mum shared with me a photograph that she'd taken of me and my wife on the monorail between Magic Kingdom and the car park. And I think that was the moment I realised something had to change. I had boobs bigger than my wife's boobs. And I thought, this isn't me. You know, 5 years previous, you know, before I started my own business, you know, I was running triathlons. You know, I was competing canoe slalom. You know, this wasn't me. So have you ever had one of those life-changing moments where you kind of think, actually, I'm going to change. I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to do something about this. And I did. So I came back from that holiday, and you know, I was straight at it. I went down to Virgin Active in Leeds. I got myself a gym membership. I hired a PT, a lovely little dynamo of a lady called Kez. It's like whipped me within like an inch of my life half the time. Came out dripping in sweat. It wasn't comfortable. Yeah, I even downloaded the diet plan off the internet, thinking, you know, that's going to be the right thing to do because diet's got to be part of it, right? And I was tracking all the calories in MyFitnessPal, and you know what? Nothing changed. 6 months later, I was still doing the same things. So I thought, hang on, maybe it's the type of exercise I'm doing that's wrong. You know, so I joined a karate class with my daughter. My daughter thought it was great. She could kick the crap out of me whenever she wanted and thoroughly enjoyed it. When I was down in London, working in London, a friend of mine had a kickboxing gym in Potter's Bar. So I used to join him there on an evening. It's like, again, really grueling exercise. And not only that, but I then started to try other things, maybe alternative things, like fat-burning coffee. Who the hell believes fat-burning coffee is going to work? A desperate man. Yeah? And, I tried this, and I tried for 5 years. I tried everything you could ever imagine. And over 5 years, I managed to lose 10 kilograms. That was it. That's like 22 pounds. It's nothing. And I was actually kind of thinking, maybe this is it. Maybe this is who I am. And my wife, bless her, she's the most amazing lady. She said, Martin, you're well respected. Your clients love you. You've got so many great friends and things. You're still going off on adventures. And the family just adore you. You do everything for them. So maybe being you isn't a bad thing. And it really wasn't. I was a happy person. But at the same time, I don't come from the best breeding stock. If I was a racehorse, I think I probably would have been shot by now. The thing is, my dad's got fibromyalgia, diabetes, he's had several bouts of cancer, he's in chronic pain all the time, he's chronic fatigue. He's an absolute mess, to be frank. And his twin brother died of cancer a couple of years ago. And not only that, my younger brother, who's 2 years younger than me, has already started with diabetes and with fibromyalgia. So the reality was, I was staring down the barrel of a gun, whether I was a racehorse or not. And then, as daft as it sounds, I was at an event down at Felbridge, near Gatwick, at the Crown Plaza down there. And over breakfast one morning, a gentleman came across, and you know when you see somebody, and you think, that person really looks after himself. He came in a beautifully tailored suit, looked incredibly, well proportioned. You're thinking, if I was, then I might, but I'm not, so it's okay. You got it. Anyway, he introduced himself as Pete, and Pete came in and sat down at breakfast, and we talked about business, we talked about, what's going on with the event and things. And obviously, I turned the conversation around a little bit. So go on, tell me, Pete, how did you manage to keep yourself so well shaped if you're constantly busy with business? How did you make it work? Thing is, I didn't always used to look like this. I was actually quite a chunky chap. You've heard this before, right? You've gone down the gym, someone's complaining, oh, I'm fat, I've put on like half a pound or something, world's gonna end. Yeah? And he said, no, seriously, look at the photos. And he did, he showed me some photos. 2 years previously, he was quite a portly gentleman. So I said, well, what was it? What was the thing that made the difference for you? And he says, well, actually, I started working with an online coach. And by doing that, I was able to then work out wherever I was in the world. I wasn't tied to doing things the way the fitness industry tells you to do it. And best still, I've actually brought my online coach with me to this event. Do you want to go meet him? Talk about serendipity or what, These things kind of chance to happen, don't they? So, I met his coach. Now, just imagine this guy. This is an ex-bodybuilder. He's got the body like Adonis. Yeah. The mind of a Stoic philosopher. And as we're chatting there nonchalantly, he says, Martin, for your change to have an effect, you need to work out what you truly value in life and then pin your transformation to that. I was gobsmacked. Because at that point in time, I didn't know what I truly valued in life. I thought I did. Because have you been to one of those seminars, one of those happy, clappy American kind of things, where you say, you got to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you've got to do 3,000 burpees, you've got to read 12 books, you've got to do your affirmations, gratitude, blah, 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 blah. I thought that was actually what you're supposed to value in life. Yeah? And I spent 5 years doing that kind of crap stuff. If you guys like it, obviously it's okay. And actually what I found from some deep reflection work was to realise there's 3 things I really value in life. I value my clients. I love working with my clients. It's like the beloved adversary. You know, they test me, they challenge me, they want their results. But you know what? That's that positive kind of stress that makes me grow, makes me be even better. I absolutely adore time with my friends. You know, they're the crazy, zany bunch that you go on adventures with. You do the most daft things like, you know, who else would think of putting an outboard motor on a kayak? My friends do. But I also enjoy helping them, you know, because that's what it's all about. You know, friends are there to help one another. Yes or no? Yeah. Absolutely. And the other thing was, I love my family. You know, I want them to use me as a springboard to their own greatness, whatever that may be. I want them to have the most brilliant life ever that they can create. But yet, if I was going to stay at 154 kilos, you know, potentially getting diabetes, fibromyalgia, etc., what's going to happen then? I might have to give up work, like my dad did, early retirement, due to medical reasons, which means I won't be able to help my clients. And with friends, I wouldn't be able to necessarily spend as much time with them. Still, I wouldn't be able to go on many of the zany adventures. But I think the bit that really hit home for me was actually my family. If I didn't sort myself out, I wouldn't be the springboard for them. I'd end up being the millstone that held them back. Now, have you ever had that moment in your life where you've had that moment of absolute clarity that says, this is the decision, this is the line, nothing else crosses this point, yes or no? Yes. Yeah. And you know that you're going to make it. You don't know how you're going to make it. You might have had so many failures to this point, but at this point in time, you know you're going to make this happen and we're going to make it work. And that's exactly where I was. And it wasn't easy. It was not easy. You know, I was still traveling around the world. So, you know, I couldn't guarantee which city, county or country I would be in at any point in time. You know, I had people saying, like my mum, bless her. You know, she thought, man, you're driving yourself too hard. Just relax a little bit. You need to be able to, you know, have something to eat as well. But little did she know that actually I was eating even more than I was before. And little by little, these things started to change. They had a big effect. You know, within the space of 3 months, I dropped 10 kilograms. That's the same as what I'd managed in 5 years. Yeah. The following 3 months, I dropped another 7 kilograms. And this is where I started to really see those results. Because my suits didn't fit me anymore. I looked like a kid playing dress up in his dad's clothes. And I'm telling you, that is the greatest problem to have, is to go out and buy a new wardrobe, okay? Who would like to do that, yes or no? Yeah. Absolutely. But for me, when I got to the point where I dropped from 154 kilos to 94 kilos, that's from 24 and a quarter stone to over 14 and a quarter stone, 340 pounds down to 207 pounds, depending on which values you prefer to use, and shrinking from 54-inch waist to 34-inch waist. I felt fantastic. I felt over the moon. But it wasn't the physical change that surprised me the most. You know, yes, I could do handstands again whenever I like. I'm not entirely sure when that would come in useful in a boardroom, but I'm planning on finding out when. But it was the mental parts of it as well, that clarity of focus. Suddenly I found I had even more time than I had before. But yet, I was always really busy because I'd started to put myself first. Now, from that, it was amazing because people started coming to me and saying, you know, Martin, how did you manage this? How did you make all these kind of things work? And I actually started to look back and realised it wasn't just working on the mechanical items, the food and the movements and things like that, but there's so much more to it as well. So I started to develop the Fit for Life transformational toolkit. Because here's the thing. You know, we talked about insurance earlier. Yeah? When you work on your own self, you can't have an insurance policy. Life is your insurance policy. And you only have one life, so live it. Now, over the time that I've worked with so many lovely people in improving their health and fitness and their lives and their businesses, I've heard all the excuses. How I can't change. Oh, it's all down to my genetics or something. And I get it. I really, really do, because I've been there. Yeah, and there are some things in life we cannot change. We cannot change our genes. We are born with them. Gene manipulation is starting to happen in science, etc. It's not yet ready for mainstream use, and I'm not entirely sure I want to be on the guinea pig list for that one either. We can't change our age. We are always going to be aging. Time will march forwards. Thankfully, we don't have to act our age, so we can actually whatever age we want to be. Yeah. So act the age that you feel. And finally, we can't change the gender we were biologically born with. Our genes inside still recognise that, and that will have an effect on how your body responds. But there is so much we can change. We can take control. We can take control of the lifestyle that we want to live, the food that we want to nourish our bodies with, the movement that we want to allow our bodies to do, the recovery period we're going to give ourselves, and the lifestyle we're going to create for ourselves, and the motivation behind the whole lot of it. These are values you can change. And when you change them, it has a massive, massive effect. And that's why I found there's 6 elements I go through with my clients. So the first area we'll look at is a thing called mindset. And you guys have probably already heard about this one lots of times. And it's really important because everything starts in your head. Every emotion creates a thought. Every thought creates an action. Every action has a reaction. Yeah? So you have to start to think about how your mindset is. And this is where a lot of people, I find, go wrong, because what they'll start doing is they'll think about, how can I set a goal, right? Like the New Year's resolution thing. I want to be fit by February. And how many times did you go to the gym? And but the thing is, it's not about just setting goals. Mindset is so much more than that. And when I'm working with my clients, we start to look at those kind of key elements. What are the kind of base principles that you live to, the values that you hold? What's the things that have held you back before? What's the things that have propelled you? How have you supported in life? Because all these things are part of your psyche, and all these things are going to be there to challenge you and also to propel you forwards. But it's making those right kind of decisions, which ones you're going to use. The second thing we work through is, second, third and fourth, they're more the mechanical side of things. Now 2, you'll recognise straight away. I can almost guarantee it, because it's like the number one things everybody ever thinks about when they're going to lose weight. And the first one is meals. Yeah, so what is it that you're eating? And again, this is where everyone kind of falls into that initial trap, and I did, when I first started, of eating less or going on a diet. Yeah. Why do diets work? Most diets, they only work because you're constricting the eating that you're having, right? But that's only part of the equation. And the thing is, if you're not careful, you can actually make yourself quite ill. And especially if you're not giving your body the right kind of nutrients that it needs, you might actually find you're compounding the problem of things like fatigue and lethargy rather than actually alleviating it. So what I go through when I'm working with people is to make sure we understand, what is it they're trying to achieve? What nutrition, what foods, etc. that they need to be able to propel that and make that goal actually work for them and take them forwards. And then we set out a plan that looks at things like the quantity, the quality, the type and the timings of those foods to make sure they can get the changes that they look for. Any guesses what skill number 3 is going to be? I said there's 2 key ones from the fitness industry. Exercise. I call it movement, but you're absolutely spot on. It's movement. And here's the thing. Here's the thing I see all the time. People, when they're going to keeping fit, what's the first thing they do? Cardio. Aerobics. They go and sign up for some kind of HIIT class or some kind of, anything that's going to make them sweat and feel like death. Yeah? And the thing is, you don't have to do that, right? And what I go through with my clients is actually helping them develop what's going to actually work for them. What are their goals? Are they looking for power? Are they looking for endurance? Are they just looking to be generally fit? You know, and there are ways of being able to do that without feeling like death. Beyond a measure of doubt. I certainly do not do that every day. So that's our third one. Now the fourth one, again, comes under the mechanics from my perspective, but it's one that's not always talked about in the fitness industry, and this is moderation. Moderation. You see, the thing is, your body actually only repairs itself when you stop. So all the time you're spending exercising, being stressed and all that kind of stuff, it's great as a stimulus, but unless you calm and chill, it's not going to give you it. But yet how many people are burning the candle at both ends, sacrificing sleep on the altar of business, yeah, sacrificing their health, their mental well-being, in fact, probably everything realistically. And that's where we start to look at, when we're working together, how can we build in some great moderation so that you value that sleep? You can find ways to relax. Because did you know you can go from naught to stressed in less than the blink of an eye? But it takes time to calm down, decompress, and feel at ease, to the point where your body goes, I'm okay now. I can take this time to do what I need to do. And it's in those moments that actually that's where your fat loss happens. That's where your muscle building happens. That's where your performance enhancement happens. Okay, so we looked at 4 out of the 6 elements. We're now going to look at the fifth one. The fifth one is all around monitoring. As business people, we all like monitoring, don't we? Yes or no? KPIs are fantastic. You know, how to run your business. You will do. You know how many houses you've got, and you know how much that income brings you, and I bet you know how much it happens when something goes wrong. In a relaxed way. Absolutely. Yeah. But the thing is, and Peter Drucker, who's generally the godfather of modern management, I think, I'll paraphrase him as saying, if it isn't monitored, it's not managed. Yeah. And the same goes for your body. Now, it's just crazy, you know, when we talk about, you know, how do you monitor your body, what's the first thing that usually pops into mind? Probably the weighing scales, yeah? And then you get people that are so obsessed with this blinking number on a, yeah? So on a square thing, you stand on like this, and it's like, please God, let it be lower. Oh shit. Mine needs a new battery. But the thing is, everyone obsesses about this little thing, but that's just one measurement, yeah? And most of the time, people read it wrong anyway, because you're not looking for that kind of spot measurement all the time, you're looking for trends. And that's why I kind of help when it comes down to working with you, is working out what those kind of trends are that are unique for your body. What is it that you need to be able to achieve your goals? And some of them are going to be metrics, actual physical numbers such as your weight. You know, others though are going to be a little bit more softer, like how you're feeling. What have you been doing that week? How's the family? And in many respects, those are the ones that actually make more for your progress and transformation than any others will. So our final skill we'll look at is a method. There is method in my madness, I do promise you that much. Although my wife says there's madness in my method as well, so one of the two is going to be true. Because this is the kind of other crazy thing I see all the time, is people are going to go into it and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to lose this weight, I'm going to become this performer, I'm going to run a marathon, I'm going to, whatever the goal is they want to do. But then when they leave and they've had that sort of motivational moment, how do they fit it into lifestyle? They suddenly realise, you know, they're working 9 to 5 or 5 to 9, depending on, you know, the jobs that you've got. They find they're going to spend time with the missus, spend time with friends and things. So all of a sudden, it don't fit. Or they do fit it in, they find those 1 hour a day to go to the gym, but they miss out on all the things like the prep work or the meal planning or anything else that they need to get done. And all of a sudden, they're in overwhelm. So what I work with is to make sure that actually you guys have a really good methodology that's actually unique to you, unique to your lifestyle, so that actually becomes easy to make it work. I have a simple saying, you know, if it's not in the diary, it doesn't get done. And as business owners, you know, we do live by our diaries, yes or no? Yeah, absolutely. So I'd like to thank you for your attention today. I hope you'll be able to take those 6 points away and be able to look at your lives and implement them in the best way possible. If you do want to have a chat with me, I'm more than welcome. You can find me on hello@martinsharp.com or just join me on any of the socials, including Facebook. And I'll quite happily have a chat with anybody. So yeah. Okay, questions and possibly answers.
To be very brief answers, so just we are running over now. So does anybody have a question? Phil?
Martin, as well as individuals, do you work with corporates or groups in any way?
Not yet. I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah, my work's been all with individuals. That
We'll talk about that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Brief answers.
It's good to talk.
Yeah.
I'm a straightforward kind of guy. You don't get too much.
Any other
done.
questions, guys? Any other
All
questions?
done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? No. Right. Well, you were not present, and again, I'll be sending things.
You're welcome.